this whole coronavirus thing has actually taught me to actually find happiness in, and to know, and not to find it, to realize that happiness has always been there. It's always been in front of me.
Yeah.
I just have been too self-centered to actually realize it and to admit it, and to actually see the impact of other good things happening around me that beforehand I just didn't really take the time of day to see them. Welcome to Spaghetti Junction. I'm Gareth.
And I'm Bruce.
We talk about stuff.
We just don't know where it's gonna go.
go. So welcome. First of all, before we really get much further than this, excuse the noise, but no. I give up.
We're still not in our state of the art studio overlooking the Miami Harbor. So
that is true.
Forgive us for that. So, but I think it makes a cool ambiance.
Well, actually, what will probably help us actually have that studio is if you guys will actually just push the subscribe button.
Like, comment, subscribe, and share.
Exactly. And there's actually not a... Some people have this bad analogy of... or this bad understanding, or this wrong understanding of when you're going to subscribe to a video. Some people have this thing that if you press the subscribe button, you're going to get inundated with links and requests to join this, and you'll earn 20% discount on your next shopping at wherever the hell you go shopping to. All it really is for us people is just so that we know that there are actually other people who are actually listening to our 30 odd minutes of ramblings and of enjoyments with some form of wisdom in it. So if you guys don't mind, if you haven't pushed that subscribe button, and I'm not doing it like a YouTuber, like, hey guys, subscribe so I can reach my next 1 million. No, I think we're on like 5.
So subscribe so we can get like 6.
Did you say 6 or 6?
6.
Oh, sorry. Just 2 different ways of seeing that in a very quick amount of time, and my ears are probably need a bit of cleaning out. But yes, it would just be funky for us, just to know, like how many people are actually enjoying listening to these podcasts.
If you're keen on listening to our ramblings and our ruminations, how about that? Eh?
I actually quite like that.
Thanks. I'd like that too. About 10 minutes ago when I thought about it and I was waiting for a chance to use it.
Wow.
So yeah.
Sure. Someone's brought in a bit of frigid cold air in this kitchen. So yes, please do it, guys, because that would just really mean a lot. And heck, you know what? You can actually say within, I don't know, a year maybe or 2 that you were in the beginning stages of subscribing to this thing. That, hey, 1 million subscribers one day. Absolutely. I'm pushing, pal.
There we go.
May not, but I'm passionate about this sucker. And look, this can go somewhere.
It can, yeah.
I mean, I really have this thing in me that by the age of 50, which I know sounds old, but actually it's not for me. It's not really that old.
50's not old.
No.
Definitely not.
I actually want to be doing really well with something, and my clothing company, that actually hasn't happened, I'm sure we can bring it up on one of our topics.
Yeah, we should.
And the podcast, look, I think you got to think big, dude, because that's part of happiness.
Absolutely.
And it makes me happy, and it kind of draws me towards a goal, which actually brings in what our topic is going to be for this podcast.
Yes, so today we are talking about what is your metric of happiness. How do you measure happiness in your life? Where are you trying to pursue happiness, or is happiness more than just an end goal? And how do you see that in your mind? What is your metric of happiness?
Yeah. Or is she the hot blondie that you picked up in the bar last weekend? Because for some people who not very moralistic, that could possibly be their metric of happiness.
Definitely. Depends whether she sticks around long enough and
to make a metric.
Yeah,
exactly. Well, that's true.
Because otherwise you could be happy for like an hour or so and then you can go back to being depressed.
No, but That is true. But also, in case you missed it, her name is Happiness. Which you probably did miss that. But that's okay, Bruce.
Yes.
Good. So what's been happening with you before we break into that?
Oh, dude. Life is fortunately very quiet at the moment. I am finally on holiday for 2 weeks. Over this Christmas festive season in Johannesburg.
Festive.
The festive season.
What is festive about this season?
Oh, what is festive about it? Not much.
Besides God, obviously.
Corona.
Yes.
Well, I think people are going to enjoy this festive season a little bit more than normal, but I think a lot of people aren't. I do know.
Wow, that's very. That made absolute no sense. So
I think maybe
like a very large portion of people really like winter, and a very large portion also like summer. So what the hell is your point?
What I'm saying is...
Try it again, yes.
What I'm saying is there are people who are very, very happy to be on holiday because everyone needs a ridiculously quiet break from the year that we've had.
Yeah.
But then there are also people that are in a lot of financial trouble where now in December it's gotten even worse.
That is very true.
And so, we really feel for those people. I've got friends of my own who they didn't really have a plan, or they couldn't have their normal financial plan for December because our lockdown flipping just knocked them for a 6. So yeah, so we'll see. I don't know.
So I don't know how to feel right now, happy or sad.
Yeah, neither do I.
Wow, that moment was brought to you by Dampener. Carry on, Bruce. Anything else positive in your world?
Other than just I'm looking forward to a nice chill 2 weeks. I don't plan to get in the car for the next 2 days. If I can help it. I went and bought groceries today so that I just don't have any excuse to get in the car. And just gonna probably lie on my bed and watch movies.
Sounds healthy.
Probably turn my phone off for a while. What's been happening with you, dude?
Nothing much else, dude. I'm working like 6 days a week right now because I'm just I've got this part-time this all-pairing job that I'm doing with one of my nephews that works out for half the day. He's on holiday, so I'll be with him probably half day still until next week, Wednesday. And then the other half I'm doing that job that I mentioned in one of our previous podcasts about exciting world of scanning files.
Oh wow, that's sounds...
it's hourly, so so if I don't work, I don't eat. So I'm just pushing hours.
That's it, man.
I'm just pushing. I don't totally enjoy it. Well, I mean, like enjoy the fact that I'm 6 days I'm working, but I'm enjoying the fact that I get money in my account every week, and I can afford to fix my car. That is still not 100% fixed, but it's almost there. So, and I have 2 jobs, and I have finances coming in that I managed to pay my rent, the full rent for the first time this month.
That's fantastic.
Which was incredible. So I'm super grateful.
Yeah, there
are so many who don't have work. So I'm not actually berating the fact that I don't have it. That everything's horrible.
Exactly. You are still in a better position than a hell of a lot of other people.
That is correct, Bruce. And that makes me happy.
Well, there you go. And here's our topic, the metric of happiness.
Yes.
Sorry.
Metric of happiness.
All right. Well, Gareth, I'm sure you've got your ideas of the metric of happiness. Now, the thing is, guys, what we did here, we actually didn't talk about our different thoughts about this before we started our podcast. So this is completely fresh and raw without any preamble.
Is that to say that our first 2 podcasts were all staged and a big fat
lie? Completely scripted.
They were completely scripted. There was nothing real about it.
No. This one's different.
Yeah, this is right. This one we actually are being real in the podcast. The other 2 were just lying because of monetization that didn't actually come through anyway. So yeah.
That's it.
This episode is brought to you by Diemarcar. When you think that episode 4 is episode 3, but it's actually episode 4. Diemarcar, also known as confusion. We blame this on 2020.
Well, yeah. So
shoot away, dude.
Yeah, Gareth came to me. He let me know about this topic, and I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. It's a nice. It can get fairly deep as well, but it is an interesting topic. How do we define happiness in our lives? Are we ever really happy? Maybe there are stages in our life where we are happy. Maybe there are stages when we're not as happy. Gareth, the floor is yours, man. What are your thoughts about happiness?
Well, look, there's always a lot. I'm finding in my life, because I've had my moments of depression and I've had my moments of good, and I think for me, it's harder. Okay, it's easier for me to find, to be able to do a metric version of sadness than of happiness.
Wow.
Because, which it'll be in a gazillion other podcasts. Oh, not a gazillion, please. Is that mentally, things at times in my life have been hard, and I've been to certain places that I wish I hadn't been to, and for some reason it's the like whole thing of optimism and pessimism and so forth. They're like whole glass half full and the glass half full and
glass half full and glass half empty.
Half empty. Thank you very much. It's easier. I've had it before, and I'm trying not to do that, and I don't think I've done it for a while. But it's easier for me at times to find it when it's glass half empty. I can see things that aren't there.
I can relate to
and
that.
I can see things that I don't relate to other people's happiness, because they've got this and I don't. So therefore, I don't have to be happy, because only when I have what they have, then I'm going to be happy, and then I can truly say, oh, okay, that's happiness. And then I make it okay for me to be negative, and I make it okay for myself to be sad, and and to be that like horrible little grey cloud in the middle of a sunshiny day that people don't always like being around, because it's easier. So it's a fascinating topic for me, because it makes me get outside of my own jaded self. It makes me get out of my own self, that finds it easier just to, to be like what I used to be called, which was Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh.
Right.
And Eeyore is a donkey, and you may or may not know who Winnie the Pooh is, and that's okay. But basically, Eeyore is one of Winnie the Pooh's friends, and he's just an unhappy donkey. Just everything is just unhappy.
Yeah.
Like anything. And to find joy, to get him to actually profess some factor of joy in the situation that he's in is extremely difficult. And I did have that for a huge part of my life. I have it once in a while. So happiness for me, I think, it's more than a podcast. But what's, I think, a response out of that is is to look outside of myself and see something that's not just about me.
Cool. What can you say at the moment can you put into words things at the moment that are bringing you happiness?
Yes, things that it's amazing how now, with this whole coronavirus thing going on and whatever, as to how I might have perceived happiness before 2020, like January, February 2020 to now ending, are very different. I'm finding that my level of happiness, how I perceive it, is actually more tangible. It's things like being able to pay my rent on time.
Absolutely.
Like December was the first month that I paid my rent in full for the first time since I lost my full-time job in March. Just being able to afford, it just gives you that peace of mind.
Absolutely.
Whereas to maybe before, job, paying rent, it was guaranteed, so it wasn't an issue, and it was like, I paid my rent, whatever. I paid my rent, and I'm grateful to be in my place. Look at that. No, I'm grateful. Other things like the basics of of this whole coronavirus thing has actually taught me to actually find happiness and to know, and not to find it, to realize that happiness has always been there. It's always been in front of me. I just have been too self-centered to actually realize it and to admit it, and to actually see the impact of other good things happening around me that beforehand I just didn't really take the time of day to see them.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes we can have, we can get so caught up in those negative thoughts.
Oh yeah.
That we forget about the small ways and maybe big ways that we actually are very blessed in.
Yeah.
I mean, just to have a roof over our heads and a car to drive.
For sure.
Puts you in.
We're huge. We're in the
puts you in the top 5% of the richest in the population, and that's still something that kind of blows my mind. It's like I can't wrap my head around the fact that it's that. Yeah. So.
I know, and it actually, no, 100%. I think, and it's good that we have those awareness things, because otherwise we would, I think, and we're not there yet as a world, but to live the life, but to be like in an environment where everybody, look, I think that we need to be made aware of how good we have it. Even though life is difficult. Yeah. Life has been tough. Yeah. We must never ever lose the fact that actually we are blessed.
No, absolutely.
And yes, everyone is blessed, 100%. But the ones with the, with the haves versus the have-nots, the people with the haves need to be awake a lot more. They need to be switched on a lot more. They need to be focused on the have-nots a lot more. Otherwise, life becomes very selfish. Yeah. And I think that's when we begin to, our whole view of happiness and what it stands for completely, I believe, completely changes for the wrong. Because I do not think happiness was, I do not think that the whole thing of happiness was created and meant to be for selfish people.
No. And I think what we can also do, I know it's probably happened to me a couple of times, is we can get very comfortable in our misery.
That's good. Yeah.
It becomes like it becomes just a little way of life almost, and then when we try and get out of it, and we actually realize, flip, there's something wrong. It's actually very difficult to try and get out of it, because you and I, we live on our own. We're single guys. Yeah. And so it's very easy to shut the world out. Yep. And I like to do it from time to time because I just have to. Yeah. But I've also had my sort of unhealthy hermit periods of life where it's just like it really gets to a point where it's like, well, there's something wrong here, because you're just on your own a little bit too much.
No, I hear you. I mean, I can easily link to what's the word? I can easily relate. Thank you very much. Relate. Yeah. Yeah. To that, I remember when I was when I had to go to a whatever they call it now, like a general health and well-being center. Basically because I'm suicidal for a while, and I went to a little place for a few days. It wasn't a bed and breakfast. It was just a reasonably expensive, wellness center, where you pay for group therapy and all that kind of thing. Yeah. No, anyway. And in fact, I think actually the majority of the time I actually did spend on my own. But what I'm bringing up from that is that one of the psychiatrists there, they gave me their I'm only losing words today. They gave me their diagnosis of so you're gonna pause it because I actually forgot what the hell word I'm looking for.
Go.
And I was given their view of what I was going through, which was bipolar.
Okay.
And my mum and me, we would have discussions, which we still we do. In fact, I think we actually spoke about last week, funny enough, is that do I really have it, or is it like a diagnosis based on what they felt at that time. And the thing that I don't know 100%, but if I do have bipolar or not, and if I do, it's very minor.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it is easy to fall into a diagnosis, if that makes sense. And again, and this must be heard very clearly, because I do have issues here, with things mentally, whatever. So this is not saying, all right, if you're having a hard day and you're bipolar, well, just snap out of it. No, that's not what it's.
Buck up, little camper.
Yeah, that's not what I'm saying.
No.
I'm saying there are diagnoses that are there to help us medically. As in, like, I'm on a form of medication linked to it, so it's there. What I'm saying is, and this is from my side, so not to push my view on anyone listening, is that I personally need to just make sure that I'm not living my life, as you say, as a hermit, because I'm owning. It's because I'm saying, okay, because I'm bipolar, I'm just gonna live my life. I'm not gonna reach out to anybody. I think that's where I'm going from. If you do have a problem, it's there. Yes, you have bipolar. Yes, you have depression. The question is, how do we reach out from that factor? How do we reach out so we do not become that hermit?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm going, actually.
Yeah. How do you take ownership of it?
Yes.
And then still move forward in a positive way instead of just let it consume you and just
Yes.
go, well, that's my lot in life.
Because it can. Yes,
it can
exactly.
It can definitely.
Like an Eeyore.
Yeah.
And we need to surround ourselves with friends like Winnie the Pooh and Roo.
And Tigger.
And Tigger. And Piglet.
Yes.
And then, so that's why we have friends, to get us out of that. And there is happen. So yeah, I just really felt, that I wanted to add that in.
Cool. That's it.
Yeah. For others listening in. That's
cool. I think quite a few people can relate to that.
Yeah.
A lot of people suffer from depression, and there's been nothing like this year to worsen those conditions over a lot of people.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, I guess my challenge from there is just to find one of that clan.
Yeah.
Find a Piglet, find a Roo. Just find somebody.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you were saying that you do or you do not believe in the pursuit of happiness.
Okay.
Which is not the movie. Although, if you want to watch a good movie
movie.
about happiness, in all seriousness, it's Will Smith and his son. What is his son's name?
Jaden Smith.
Jaden Smith,
yeah.
Who at the point was an adorable little kid. Now he's got a friggin' grill and tats and this. into some strange music.
It was a
but
good
others
movie.
like, which is great. I don't. But it was a great movie. Sorry. So
Very
yes,
cool. Based on a true story.
based on a true story.
Yeah.
And it was actually one of the first movies. Well, one of the few movies that a father and son have actually played the same characters in the same movie.
That's it. Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you very much. So, Pursuit of Happiness. What is that preparing up for you?
Yeah, I'm probably not. I don't think a pursuit of happiness is an ideal that is worth striving for.
Okay.
Because-
How do you? Okay. Sorry. What do you mean by a pursuit of happiness?
Well, I think I think a lot of people get into their heads that I think what you were saying. It's like, if I could just get there, if I could just have that, if I could just be in that type of relationship, if I could just have that type of job, then I'll be happy. But the problem is, just to achieve that, you're still going to be you're going to be discontent about something else. And it's an onward, it's a
That's
vicious cycle.
Yeah.
And I've learnt that I don't think we are born to be content. And
We're not born to be content.
which is very interesting, considering the teachings that I've had over the years about, be content with what you have and all of that kind of thing. Because I think contentment means that you've just kind of stopped wanting to achieve stuff. And I think I like to believe that happiness comes from pursuing purpose rather than pursuing an ideal of what you think happiness is. So if you are, say for you, you're really passionate about this podcast.
Yeah.
I would say that this was your idea.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, I feel like I'm along for the ride.
Yeah.
But you're kind of, it's almost like you're driving the ship, and that's cool. And it's something that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
So that on itself, it's a very small thing at the moment, but it gives you this purpose. It's like, wow, cool, I've got this thing. You're constantly thinking about it. Like you were telling me earlier, you listen to these podcasts like 3 times a week, all that kind of thing, and all that, because you're that into it. It's this purpose, and then within that purpose, because you've got direction, that's where, I know for me, that's where happiness comes.
Yeah.
Where I know that I'm on, and I'm like, okay, that's where I'm going.
Yeah.
And I can almost be like, okay, all right, cool. Then I can kind of relax. Relax just a little bit.
Yeah.
Not too much.
Sorry, but before you get there, bear in mind though, what you do already know, sure, it's like it did come up in my mind about, this whole podcast. But if you weren't involved in this, it wouldn't be going very far, because we gel.
We do.
We
yes.
work. We work really
Yes. No, we do.
really well together and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I was just putting that out. That absolutely, I love this thing.
Yeah.
But, dude, we're on this for the freaking long term here. So buckle in for your little happiness bout. Carry on.
And I must say, it's the times where I've felt rudderless and directionless that I felt the most depressed, and the most down, and the most unhappy.
No, that's very true.
And as soon as I've discovered what the next step is, it's sort of been like, it's kind of sort of buoyed me up. It's brought my mood up. It's brought everything about how I live now up. It's like I feel more inspired to get up early in the morning. I feel more inspired to just face every day, because I now have direction. And I think especially for guys, for men, our happiness lies in our pursuits, our pursuit of what our purpose is. Whether it's building a business, whether it is whether it's chasing your passions, whatever it is, that's what, purpose. And
So I don't want to stir a hornet's nest, no? Or bang a hornet's
kick
nest.
a hornet's
Or
nest.
kick it really hard.
Address the elephant in the room.
Yeah, no, I won't go to the elephant part. That's not necessary. No. Because I could, but I'll just say, well, what do you think women want to do, Bruce? But
I don't know actually. So, I'm a guy, so I don't know how women pursue happiness. So,
well, I would imagine that similar, but
maybe I don't know. Maybe we should get a girl on and ask her.
Maybe we should, Bruce.
I'm
just playing devil's advocate. Yes, but anyways, yes, we need those things in our lives to keep positivity.
Exactly, and especially during this year, especially during lockdown, I had stuff that I was planning. I had plans, and then those plans very slowly but surely got just broken down, and I went, okay, what the hell? And then got very depressed, got very despondent for quite a while, because I wasn't too sure of where to go and whatever. Yeah. And fortunately now, sort of things have come up that have now reactivated all the sort of the positive vibes and the positive feelings, because I've now got, okay, cool, all right, that's gonna be a cool direction to go to. I don't know what the end game is gonna be.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, I see that, I can work with that, and that is enough to bring sort of a little bit more positivity in.
Well, I mean, I'm seeing that we're running close to our what we try and tell our listeners that we're going to keep to
half an hour ish.
So maybe like another 5-ish minutes, guys, if you don't mind. I think that this brings the whole topic into the difference between joy and happiness. Okay?
That's also true.
Because if we're only living our lives based on happiness, and if your things don't come through for 6 months, doesn't mean you will have to have a shitty life for 6 months. Doesn't mean that you can come over here every week, be miserable for 6 months because you haven't got what you perceive to be a plan in place.
That's also true.
What I'm trying to understand from this is, just from in my beliefs and so forth, the like whole thing of joy and happiness, and I know what you're saying about the whole thing of being. I think being comfortable is not saying that I don't want more. To me, being comfortable is a joy. Being comfortable is saying at this point, I'm doing okay. I don't know what's going to come up in the next day, or what's going to happen with my job tomorrow, or how my health is going to be. But at this point, I'm okay. Okay. And I think the difference between joy and happiness is based on a thing. And from what I'm trying to grow in my walk as a Christian, as to joy, joy to me, but I don't get this all the time. In fact, it's very hard to find this whole. I think joy is more elusive than happiness. But to me, I believe that joy is being comfortable in the place where you are right now. Just right now. It doesn't say in 5 minutes. It doesn't say in the next 60 seconds. Just right now. What can I find to have just a bit, just where I am right now, in my place.
Yeah.
Yes, I got work tomorrow, blah, 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 whatever I was going to say. I don't know what I was going to say. Point being is that at this point, can I be comfortable where I am now? And it's very difficult though. And like I said, this is why, and maybe it's for a whole other thing. In fact, when this is done, our podcast's done, I'm going to have to sit alone and think about myself what actually is joy, because I don't know fully yet what joy. I know of the connotations of joy, and what I should have an understanding of.
Yeah.
But happiness happiness doesn't always stay.
No.
I do not believe that you can find a happiness that will last to 24/7 for the rest of your life.
No.
And I think that's where joy comes in, that you're still positive and you're still happy.
Yeah.
Even in situations where others saying, well, this is damn difficult. How the hell? And I don't know.
Maybe
maybe that's just a thing that I'm going to have to ask myself later, maybe I will be asking myself later, is the difference between joy and happiness.
I think maybe
and it is there. I feel that there is, because if I'm living, because I do not think that I would be able to live happy every single second of my daytime.
Oh no, that's you can't ask that of anybody.
No, okay. Well, that's good. Because once in a while I may need to be Eeyore.
Yeah.
And once in a while I might need to be Tigger, who's freaking bouncing everywhere.
Yeah. Maybe I think that sort of where you talk about the difference between joy and happiness. Maybe joy comes along with being thankful and being grateful for what you have in that moment. That's what then creates
I think that's
the
a
joy.
great way to end this.
Because
that's really good.
I think joy could very well equal thankfulness and being grateful for what you have at that moment. And that's something that I've been very, very guilty of not thinking of as much as I should.
Yeah.
Because you get so caught up, you can't see the forest for the trees, because you get so caught up with what you don't have. You got so caught up with what's not happening in your life, that what you want happening in your life, and you don't really realize that you've actually got a warm bed to sleep in and a car to drive and food in the fridge and a roof over your head.
And that's wrong. Our level of stuff.
And that's it. So
that's actually So guys, look, I mean, I would love it. We would love it if you can, just like, if you had the time, which I believe, if you are listening right now on the podcast on YouTube, there's a little thing there that you can push on that says comments. Just be very interesting to hear your views, guys.
Yeah, love to hear
on this thing of happiness. What it is, what isn't it? How do you see happiness? How do you see joy? I think it would be fascinating for us to also hear. Absolutely.
And just in general, guys, we'd love to just start engaging with you. We're a very, very new podcast. We want to see that you guys are out there on the YouTubes, as the old people say.
That was you. I didn't say anything.
On the social medias. We are also on Instagram, so go find us on Instagram, at the Spaghetti Junction Podcast, _ between every word.
Slide us a DM.
Slide into our DMs and we'd love to hear your suggestions of things that you'd like us to maybe talk about, because we do think of stuff to chat about, but we'd love to hear from you guys as well. So
that might bring us happiness.
Might bring us happiness,
and maybe
joy,
a little bit of joy,
thankfulness, gratefulness,
self-control. On that verse.
Oh wow!
Thanks for listening, guys. It's been awesome. I'm Gareth.
And I'm Bruce. You've been listening to the Spaghetti Junction podcast. Thank you very much.
Have a good one, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers, ciao.
Bye-bye.